The Cloud Kingdom, Part 1. A magical bedtime story. For dreamers big and small. Are you tucked in? Pillow fluffed? Blanket just right? Then it's time to close your eyes. Breathe in, and slowly breathe out. Because tonight, you're going somewhere special. Somewhere gentle and light. Where the clouds are castles, and the stars whisper secrets. Tonight, you're going to the Cloud Kingdom. Chapter 1: The Sky Path. Once upon a quiet evening, in a town where the rooftops kissed the stars, there lived a curious dreamer named Nilo. Nilo wasn't quite a child, but not quite grown. He was just the right age for wonder to still bloom in his chest like wildflowers. He lived in a little house with a pointy roof, a round window, and a bed that always seemed a little too soft, as if it were made for floating. Every night before bed, Nilo would lean against the window and look up at the sky, not just to see the stars, though they were beautiful, but to listen. Because if you listen very closely, if the wind was quiet enough, you might hear it too, a soft hum in the sky, like a lullaby played by the clouds. Nilo called it the cloud song. And one evening, just after the moon had risen, and the stars blinked on like fireflies, Nilo heard something new, a gentle voice woven into the wind. Come along, dreamer. Your sky path awaits. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but when he turned from the window, he saw something glowing beside his bed. A staircase, made entirely of mist and moonlight, rising up through the ceiling, and into the sky. Nilo blinked, rubbed his eyes. The stairs were still there. So he reached for his slippers, took a deep breath, and climbed. One step, then another, and soon the stars were below him, and the clouds opened their arms above. Chapter 2: The Arrival. As he reached the top, Nilo found himself standing on the softest white ground he'd ever felt, a floor made entirely of clouds. Everything was glowing, not bright like day, but gently, like the world had been wrapped in a lullaby. Fluffy towers stretched into the sky, their edges curling like whipped cream. Bridges of soft vapor stretched from one cloud to another, and floating lanterns drifted like jellyfish in the air. "Welcome, Nilo," said a voice, kind and clear. He turned, and there stood a tall, elegant figure with silver hair that shimmered like rain, wearing a robe stitched with tiny stars. "I'm Lys, Keeper of the Kingdom," they said, bowing slightly. "You've been chosen to visit the Cloud Kingdom. Only true dreamers can find the sky path." Nilo could barely speak. The place was so quiet, but not empty. Alive with stillness, like holding your breath before a dream begins. "Why am I here?" he finally asked. "To see the dream garden," Lys said. "To meet the creators of clouds. And if you wish to choose your own dream tonight." The Cloud Kingdom, Part 2. Chapter 3: The Dream Garden. The Cloud Kingdom shimmered under the moonlight, as if everything, the towers, the bridges, the sky itself, had been dipped in quiet stardust. Lys, the Keeper of the Kingdom, turned to Nilo with a soft smile. "Follow me," they said. "The dream garden is waking." They walked along a silver bridge that gently swayed in the breeze, not in a scary way, but like a lullaby rocking you to sleep. With each step, the mist curled softly under Nilo's feet, as though the clouds knew he was new here and wanted to carry him gently. The air smelled like warm vanilla, with a hint of something fresh, like rain that had never touched the ground. Soon, they arrived at a vast open space, a garden unlike anything Nilo had ever imagined. Instead of soil, the ground was made of soft light. The plants were not plants at all. They were dreams, each one blooming in a glass-like bubble that floated just above the ground. Some dreams glowed blue and pulsed slowly. Others sparkled with soft golden flickers. A few hummed little melodies, so quiet you could only hear them if you stood very still. "This," said Lys, spreading their arms wide, "is where all dreams are grown." Nilo's eyes widened. "You mean real dreams? Like the ones people have when they sleep?" "Exactly," Lys nodded. "Every dream begins as a seed. The cloud gardeners plant them. The wind singers water them with music. And the star menders trim and polish them before they are sent down." Nilo walked slowly among the glowing bubbles. In one, he saw a child flying on a dragon made of paper. In another, a whale floated through space, trailing ribbons of stars. And in yet another, a tiny bunny explored a castle made entirely of buttons. Lys pointed to a cluster of delicate blue blooms. "Those are the soothing dreams. They help calm hearts and settle worries. Very popular lately." Nilo couldn't stop smiling. The garden was so peaceful, so perfect. It felt like every good feeling he'd ever had, wrapped in silence and moonlight. "Can I plant one?" he asked. Lys nodded. "Of course. All dreamers must try." Chapter 4. Planting a Dream. Lys led Nilo to a soft circle in the garden, marked by 4 tiny, glowing stones. A silver bowl hovered in the center, filled with tiny seeds that sparkled like snowflakes. "Choose one," Lys said. "Then close your eyes and imagine a dream. Something beautiful, something gentle, something that would help someone sleep in peace." Nilo took a deep breath. He reached into the bowl and picked up a single seed. It was warm in his hand and very light. He closed his eyes. He imagined a small boat floating on a calm lake, with lanterns in the sky, and a lullaby playing softly on the breeze. In the boat, someone wrapped in blankets. Safe, peaceful, not afraid of anything. When he opened his eyes, the seed glowed gently in his hand. "Good," Lys whispered. "You have a gentle heart." They guided Nilo to place the seed in a swirl of cloud dust. The moment it touched the ground, a glowing flower bloomed instantly, and inside its petals the dream played, just as Nilo had imagined. Somewhere far below in the world, someone would dream that dream tonight. Nilo watched in wonder. Chapter 5. The Cloud Creatures. "Would you like to meet the ones who shaped the clouds?" Lys asked, once the dream had fully bloomed. "Yes, please," Nilo said. They walked toward a towering cloud shaped like a shell. Inside, it echoed with the soft whoosh of the wind. And there, dancing through the mist, were the cloud creatures. They were small, no taller than Nilo's knees, and made entirely of fluff and sparkle. Each one was slightly different. Some with tiny wings made of folded mist, others with long ears and twirling tails. They giggled in musical tones as they worked, spinning cloud threads, braiding them together, and shaping them into gentle formations, like pillows, animals, even floating dream shelves. These are the creators, Liz said. They build the beds that carry the dreams. Softness is an art. One of the cloudlings floated over to Nilo and offered him a small swirl of cloud, shaped like a sleeping cat. Nilo laughed, his voice light. "Thank you." The cloudling spun in place with joy. "They're shy," Liz said, "but they like you." The creatures danced and twirled, each movement quiet and slow, as if time didn't matter here. Only softness, only stillness, only care. Nilo sat beside them for a long while, watching the sky shift colors above him. Blues fading to silver, silver to a sleepy violet. "Is it always like this here?" he whispered. Liz nodded. "It is always calm, always dreaming. It is the heart of the sky." The Cloud Kingdom, Part 3. Chapter 6. The Hall of Lost Dreams. After Nilo spent time with the cloud creatures, Liz gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "There's one more place I'd like you to see," they said. "It's quiet, a little different, but important." Nilo stood and brushed the soft mist from his knees. He followed Liz through a winding path that floated above the garden, a skybridge shaped like a ribbon. The clouds below changed, turning from bright white to pale silver, then to soft blues, like the color of remembering. At the end of the bridge stood a grand dome, made of the same shimmering glass as the dream bubbles. A quiet wind passed through it like a sigh. Liz spoke gently. "This is the Hall of Lost Dreams. Here we keep the dreams that were forgotten, or never had the chance to bloom." Nilo stepped inside, and the world instantly grew still. Rows upon rows of dream bubbles hovered in the air, each one dimmer than the garden blooms. Some flickered gently, others floated silently, their light barely showing. A gentle melody played from somewhere deep within, like a song trying not to be forgotten. "They're beautiful," Nilo whispered. "They are," Liz agreed. "They are dreams that faded before they were finished. Sometimes people grow afraid to dream, or they get too busy, or the world distracts them. But here they still live, waiting, just in case someone remembers." Nilo walked among the rows. He saw dreams of old tree houses that were never built, books unwritten, songs unsung, a child's dream of flying that had grown dim and quiet. And then he stopped. One bubble, floating close to the ground, flickered faintly. Inside it, a boy stood in a dark field, looking lost, holding a paper lantern, but unsure where to go. Nilo's chest tightened. I know this one," he said. Liz turned. "I dreamed it once," Nilo said, voice barely a whisper. "When I was younger, I wanted to find something important, but I didn't know what it was. I got scared, and I let the dream fade." He knelt in front of it. The image in the bubble shimmered. "You can choose to finish it," Liz said, "if you're ready." Chapter 7. The Quiet Lantern. Nilo nodded slowly. He reached out, and the moment his fingers touched the bubble, it glowed brighter, pulling him gently in. He stood again in the dark field, barefoot on soft grass, holding the paper lantern in his hand. The wind whispered softly through the grass. The stars above twinkled, watching. The boy in the dream himself looked around. "What if I get lost?" Nilo asked the sky. A soft breeze brushed his face. and he remembered something Lys had said. Softness is an art. It isn't weakness, it's the beginning of courage. So he lit the lantern. The flame danced, golden and kind. He held it high, and the light reached farther than he expected. It lit a small path in the grass. Not all the way to the end, just the next few steps. But that was enough. He walked, and slowly, as he walked forward, the dream shifted. The sky brightened, the grass sparkled with dew, and in the distance, a soft shape formed, a tower made of folded dreams. It shimmered like all the ones in the Cloud Kingdom. He hadn't lost the path. He had just needed light. As he stepped toward it, the dream wrapped itself gently around him, like a blanket, and faded softly. Nilo opened his eyes. He was back in the Hall of Lost Dreams. Lys was waiting quietly. "You finished it," they said. "I didn't know I could." "You remembered. That's all it takes." They walked out of the hall together, and as they stepped outside, the cloud bridge beneath them glowed a little brighter. Chapter 8. Return from the Sky. Back in the heart of the Cloud Kingdom, the stars above were shifting. It was nearly time to return. Nilo stood beside Lys on the platform where he had first arrived. "Will I remember this?" he asked. Lys nodded. "Not always with your mind, but your heart will know. And when you dream again, you'll see our world in the corners of the sky." A soft staircase formed once again, mist and moonlight leading down, down, down. "But I don't want to leave yet," Nilo said. "You won't really leave," Lys said. "We're always here, just above the clouds. Whenever you listen for the cloud song, you'll find us." Lys placed a small, glowing feather in Nilo's hand. "Plant this in your next dream," they said. "It will know the way." Nilo stepped onto the staircase. Each step was slower than the last. The stars grew softer, the clouds thinner, and soon he was back in his room. His bed felt softer than ever. A breeze stirred the curtains, gentle like a farewell. He looked at his hand. The feather was gone, but his heart was full. He curled into his blanket, smiled at the moon, and whispered, "Thank you." And then he slept, deeply, peacefully, as the clouds whispered above him. The Cloud Kingdom, Part 4. Chapter 9. A Feather in the Wind. The next morning, Nilo woke with the softest feeling in his chest, like something inside him had been touched by starlight. He remembered whispers, clouds, the scent of the dream garden, the quiet joy of finishing a dream he had once forgotten. He opened his eyes slowly. The sky outside his window was still gray-blue. Not quite morning, not quite night. He lay still, letting the calm stay a little longer. And then he saw it, lying gently on the windowsill, as if the wind had left it there just for him, was a small, glowing feather. Chapter 10. Dreamlight Beneath the Stars. That night, Nilo didn't rush to sleep. He curled into bed with quiet joy. He didn't reach for a book or stare out the window. He simply closed his eyes, placed the feather gently on his chest, and breathed in the memory of moonlight. In the quiet hush between waking and dreaming, he heard it again, the cloud song, soft, slow, and familiar now, like a lullaby written just for him. A breeze stirred, and when he opened his dream eyes, he was already back in the sky. But this time he didn't need the Skystairs. He was floating gently through the clouds, weightless and calm, carried by light and memory. The Cloud Kingdom welcomed him not as a visitor, but as someone who had returned. Lanterns flickered in greeting. The dream garden glowed warmer than before. Even the little cloud creatures came tumbling through the air, giggles sparkling in the mist. And there was Lys, waiting with a smile. "I hoped you'd come," they said. "I wanted to," Nilo replied. "It felt like I needed to." "You've planted a dream," said Lys. "Now you may guide one." Nilo tilted his head. "Guide one." Lys nodded toward the garden. And there, nestled in a small glowing cradle, was a tiny new dream. Soft, bright, and not yet shaped. "Tonight," Lys said, "you'll visit someone else's sleep. Not to speak, not to change, just to light the lantern for them, as you once needed." Nilo approached the cradle. The dream glowed golden, the same shade as the lantern he had once held. He reached out his hand, and the dream lifted, settling softly in his palm. It pulsed gently like a heartbeat. "Be still," Lys whispered. "Let the dream guide you." Chapter 11. A Lantern in the Dark. Nilo floated again, this time not through stars, but through someone else's night. He found himself in a quiet forest, where a child sat alone beside a silent stream, hugging their knees, unsure. The child looked up. Their eyes sparkled, though they didn't seem surprised to see Nilo. "I don't know how to sleep," they whispered. "I'm afraid of what I'll see when I close my eyes." Nilo said nothing, just knelt beside them. He opened his hand, and the golden dream rose between them, like a candle in the dark. It glowed softly, casting warm light on the trees, and the stream began to sparkle. The child watched the dream float higher, and their shoulders relaxed. The trees bent gently, forming a glowing arch of safety. The stars above sang softly. A blanket of cloud mist rolled in, and the child lay down. As they began to close their eyes, they whispered, "Thank you." Nilo smiled. The lantern had been passed. Chapter 12. The Kingdom Remains. He returned to the Cloud Kingdom, just before dawn. The light was different now, rosy and gold, a sign that morning approached in the world below. Lys stood beside a quiet cloud mirror, watching the sky turn soft with the promise of day. "You helped them," they said. "I didn't know I could." "You didn't do it for them," Lys replied. "You simply showed up. That is often enough." They turned to face Nilo. "You're always welcome here. Even if you don't remember the path with your eyes, your dreams will remember, and the Cloud Kingdom will remain." Lys placed a second feather in his hand, this one a deeper blue like twilight. "For when someone else needs it," they said. Chapter 13. Drift. The breeze rose again. The stars began to fade, and Nilo floated gently, gently downward, back to his bed, back to the soft weight of his blanket, the curve of his pillow, the hush of his breath. Outside the window, a feather drifted into the sky, and far above, the Cloud Kingdom shone, quiet as ever, watching over the world of dreams. And as Nilo slept, so did the world, wrapped in cloud light, cradled by stars, and guided by a dream.